Hey, boys and girls, if there are any here. I think the majority of us are guys. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Uh, First, please let me know if the signal is too hot today because last week, after watching the live rebroadcast, I noticed that the from time to time the sound would clip, and I don't want to have a repeat of that. So just let me know if everything's okay, because that gets annoying after a while, both for the guitar and the voice. So I hope you guys are doing better than I am. I have a head cold. That might even turn into a man cold today. So who knows? It just started yesterday. I thought it was allergies for a moment because it came on suddenly and hasn't gone away. So last night was one of those nights where I'm basically working on fumes today, guys. So please be gentle with me. You'll see me blowing my nose today. So please forgive the sniffles, the boogers. Got my Kleenex here. One of those things, unfortunately, that you have to deal with. So when I say, Addicted to Gear is the channel where we talk about gear and we never sleep because of it, it's actually true because last night I hardly slept. I was one of those nights where the nose was keeping me up. So what are you going to do? I think it's the first cold that I've got in 2 years. But hopefully it'll go away. The sad thing is that basically I was supposed to rehearse today. We're actually scheduled to rehearse today. So we lost the keyboard player. He bailed because he was sick. He had some kind of sore throat, something like that. So he bailed for today, and I'm trying not to bail, but I really don't feel good. So I don't know. I like to give 110%. So unless, something major happens between now and tonight, I might have to. A lot of people are getting colds and flus. I think this year specifically is going to be one of those crazy years with the flus. Not necessarily COVID, just flus. Because I think everybody's sort of like starting to recirculate. So yeah, it's going to be one of those things. I have been taking vitamin D. I should take more vitamin C. Not so much zinc, but I do take vitamin D on a daily basis, and I also take magnesium. I think that helps with other things, keeps the body, well lubricated from the inside, if that's the right word. Anyways, good morning, you guys. I hope you guys are in good shape. I don't know if you guys are, all dealing with any these little sniffles and whatnot, but if you are, just rest up and it's going to be all cool. I see we're already 33 people in, so I guess maybe my early notification this week kind of helped, because usually I send the notification out like a day early, sometimes the day of, but this week I sent it out almost immediately after the last show, which maybe I'll do again if we get good results. So I want to say good morning to everybody here. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. So Mark is here, Rico, Cushman, Quicksilver, Eddie, D-Mac, Charles, Quicksilver, Ed, Cushman, Fat Philosopher, Gene, Munch, not Monk. Munch, nice to see you, buddy. Dan is here as well. Paul, Presley, Quicksilver. It's a full house. Awesome, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Awesome. So I'm just scrolling down the comments just to see if there was any early questions or comments, and we'll jump right in. I don't know how long we're going to go today, guys. It all depends on how I feel, but we'll try to do our best. I'll try and give 110%. That's what we're here for. And of course, if anybody's new, I have to start off with this. I know a lot of you guys are old timers now and you've been here regularly, but if you are new and you want to chat, you have to subscribe. You have to subscribe. If not, you're not going to be able to chat. So please subscribe, and you'll be able to jump in. And yeah, and if you have any new gear, if you've been up to no good this week and you've probably spent more money than you should have on gear, we want to hear about it, because this is what the channel's all about. It's all about gear and a couple of other things, but mostly about gear. So here we have a question. Munch says, anybody watch Ellen play bass? Derek Jones just set up her short scale with her. I wish I had started playing at such a young age. Is this remind me? Is this the young girl that plays bass and she just covers a whole bunch of cover tunes? Because if it is, yeah, she's great. She really seems to be having a lot of fun, and this is what I love to see. Young kids getting into it at a young age is really heartwarming, in my opinion. So I'm not sure we're talking about the same young lady here, but if we are, let me know. Jack says, Tony, I don't know what's wrong with me. I bought my third black and white Strat. This one is SSH. There's nothing wrong with you, Jack. I see no issues there. What's wrong with that? Okay, maybe you're asking the wrong guy, but I love black Strats. At one point, I did have two black Strats. One that I converted into a Gilmour style. At least it looks like it. It's not really a David Gilmour, one of those crazy expensive custom shop jobs. But I did put in a black pickguard, and I left in everything else the way it was. And immediately it looked like a David Gilmour Strat, and I still have it configured that way. Then I had a second one. That was basically, it looked like a blackie, like Eric Clapton Strat, right? With the white pickguard. I'm just going to turn this off here. I have to wipe, guys, sorry. And basically, I still have that. No, I don't have that one anymore. What I ended up doing was I took the best of both guitars and I turned it into one guitar. So I took the neck off of one, put it onto the body of the other. And I ended up making sort of a hybrid one. It's all Fender parts. It's not it's not a part caster, but right now it plays great. But I still have it configured like the David Gilmour style. I kept the other pickguard. Sorry guys, I don't mean to play with my nose while I'm talking, but I have no choice. But anyways, long story short, it plays great, and I sold off the other one, and I'm happy. Sometimes, doing stuff like that, you basically get the guitar you want, I don't know if anybody else has done that, kind of like, not chopped up guitars, but taken one guitar or two guitars and made one out of it to finally get the one you want. So Mark has some good news that I saw earlier this week. Mark ended up making some trouble. This week. It's not trouble, Mark. I live vicariously through you guys, and I'm jealous because Mark has placed in an order for the PRS HDRX, which we've been talking about on the channel for a while. And he's, I think, did you get it, Mark? It was supposed to, as far as I know, it was supposed to arrive today. Is it in? Is it in the house? Is the chicken in the pot? Has the eagle landed? Let us know, because I'm really curious to learn a lot more about that particular amp, and Mark will maybe share some videos of this new amp today, or well, maybe not today, but eventually. But we'd like to get some feedback, at least some first impressions. That would be really cool. BC Rich 581 says Squire has a huge sale on Chicago Music Exchange. Fender is marked way down, has marked way down. All their Amazon and a few other brands are also marking things down by a decent amount. So can say that the boom is now over. So I don't know if that's the case. I mean, the way I see it, BC Rich, is that they augmented the prices quite a bit before all of this. So really, lowering the prices is really giving you a guitar at the regular price. So I don't know how much of a deal that actually is, unless the prices are way, way down. But if anybody does have any cool Black Friday deals, because we're in that time of year now where it's going to be Black Friday for the next 2 months. So please share some deals with us. I have a couple as well, and I'll share with you guys during the show today if you guys are interested. I know everybody's, some people save up their money for around Christmas time, around Black Friday, to be able to maximize the bang for the buck. And if you've done that, now's the time, guys. So you make a wise selection. Jamel says, good morning, all. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I did finally get a Sabadius Funky Vibe Fillmore East Best Univibe clone on the market. Love the tones with a Marshall. Hey, man, that sounds really cool. So, Jamel, I'm not up to speed on the price of that unit. What does that usually go for? How much did that set you back? If you don't mind sharing with us. Richard, no worries, buddy. I'm doing my best over here. The show must go on. So I had to, if I was not going to do the show today, I was just going to feel miserable anyway. So you guys are cheering me up. It's all good. I'm trying my best. Hopefully you guys appreciate my show even with the sniffles. Mark says that it's coming today. So this is like, I don't know if you guys are like me, but when something's supposed to arrive, I'm constantly checking for tracking updates, peeking through the window, waiting for the UPS guy or the FedEx guy. It's like Christmas, it's awesome. Eddie says, I haven't had time to get to Atomic yet. Been working my ass off. I'm up to, and I'm up near Glen Burnie. So Mark says Atomic rules. All right. So while the chat's going on, and please keep it going. I don't want you guys to stop the momentum. I'm going to also share some photos today because I had mentioned during the last chat, the last live stream, that if you guys had anything you wanted to share with the group, that you can send it to me and I'd be happy to show some stuff. So today I'm gonna showcase Munch's Hagstrom project, and if he doesn't mind. So if Munch is still here, I need to give me the okay that you don't mind me sharing some of those photos that you sent me with the boys, and I want to just share one of his projects with you guys because one of the great things about this show is that I do chat with a lot of you guys offline. So after the show is done, I get a lot of feedback from you guys on my Instagram, on email, and I'm getting to know you guys more on a personal level. And I know you guys are awesome people. There's a lot of great people here. And, Munch is one of them. He's a great guy. And I wanted to say specifically good morning, well, depending on what part of the world you're in, good morning to him and to his mom, Pat, who is 89 years young, and hopefully she's watching. Hopefully she's enjoying the show and you guys are watching together. Because there's a lot of great people around here on this channel, and I'm hoping to grow that and really create a great community of people that are interested in helping each other, sharing information, and really it's all about, it's not just about gear. The gear brings us together, but it's about the people too, right? So I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys for reaching out to me on a personal level as well. So Munch has given me the okay. He says, thanks, Tony. You got You got brother, share my pictures, please. All right, cool. So I wanted to show you this cool project because this, just to give you a little backstory, guys, this is a Hagstrom guitar, 1966 Hagstrom that Munch has purchased or got when he was 17 years old. So he's had this guitar for quite a few years now. And I'll show you the before and after shots. So hopefully I don't mess this up and ruin the surprise here, because I have them in no particular order now, and I'm going to try to select the right ones here. So let me just see if I go in order. So let me turn, oh, the picture's so small. Okay, wait a second, guys. Wait a second. All right, there we go. Okay, can you guys see that? Can you see that photo? So if you can see that photo, this is the original Hagstrom in all its glory. And you can see, you know, the way it's laid out with the pickups there and all the switches and whatnot. A cool project. I don't know if that's the original case as well. It looks like it's already had some mods done with the pickups, but a very cool looking guitar, right? You guys can see that, right? I'm not just talking to myself here. I hope you can see it. All right. So the next shot here is the guitar as it's being worked on. So you can see here now there's paint being removed from the guitar, and it's a long process. I've done this myself, and you know, some guitars it's really time consuming to peel the paint off the guitar and to sand it down, but you can see that in progress. The next shot here, you can see it a little bit more. You can see, you're starting to see part of the grain now, and as you can see, the cavity there is like a swimming pool route, a big one. It's a cool guitar. I'm not sure what the wood is. It's hard to tell. But you can see the progress here that he was making. The next shot here, you can see the guitar totally sanded down, as well as the headstock. You'll notice it's a 12-string guitar, right, guys? That's, you know, pretty unique already. So this version now is totally sanded down, ready for the next step. I don't know I don't know if I'd be able to work on a guitar like this and really because it's a big project, you know. I don't know if I'd have the courage to go this deep into it, but looking nice. The next shot here, we're starting to see some of the inlay route. So he's decided to go and embellish the guitar with some really nice wood inlays. So basically carved in, painted, a lot of work, and I don't have the skills for that. But as you can see here now, the headstock is coming along, Hagstrom logo is applied, you know, nice and clean compared to what we saw earlier. Already a huge difference. Really sweet. And here you get a close-up shot now of the birds and the flowers. You know, it's great what you can do with your guitars if you have some imagination. Nobody says you have to make your guitars look like everyone else. You know, you can personalize it and make it your own. Yeah, really nice here. And the next shot, he also included, I don't know if this is actually a coin or a medallion. I'm not really sure what it is, but it does say 1966. And we do have a little, so there's a medallion, and there's also what looks to be like mother of pearl on the side of it. So that's a really nice addition. I've seen a lot of people putting in coins in the back of their guitars to indicate their birth year and whatnot. I think that's really cool. Silver dollars, stuff like that. So Munch says he used food coloring and a wood burner on the inlay parts. I've never actually used food coloring on my guitars. I've used leather dyes, but I guess maybe one time I'll have to eventually try that. So that's a 1066 Swedish 50 ore coin. Very cool. Very cool. 1966 coin. Nice. And here now we can see the headstock with the tuners. I think it looks like it's been also sprayed with some sort of top coat. At this point, looks very good. Really nice. I'm really impressed with you guys. It's amazing what you guys can do. And here we can see the neck now. And it looks to me like he's also taken the time to replace the dots with mother of pearl. And that's always tricky as well. So I don't know how difficult that is. If you had to, I'm assuming you had to remove the frets. You had to remove the original dots, then put in the new dots, then sand everything down, then replace the frets. Am I correct? That sounds like a big project. And here we have our good Freddy, a good friend here, a good Freddy. We have our good friend Munch with his guitar with new pickups. Those look like active pickups to me. And it looks like you've also done some updates to the switching on the guitar as well. So I don't know if you guys can, maybe you guys can figure out more than I can, or we can get it straight from Munch. But what did you do in terms of the switching on the guitar? In terms of, it looks like there's maybe options in there for like different pickup configurations. I'm not really sure. But if you can share, that would be cool. And here we have a top view now of the guitar with the full-blown inlays, the birds with the food coloring, and all the awesome job that he's done with the wood burner. And the top coat is super smooth. There's no like bumps or anything, and it's very nice. And even the pickguard's wood. Pretty sweet. Awesome job. Hats off to you, man. I think you did an awesome job on this guitar. You should be proud of it. I think the guitar is good for at least, I'm going to say, another, I don't know how many years, but I'm going to say that guitar is going to be something you're going to enjoy playing for the rest of your life at least. Maybe even hand it down. Who knows? But great job, man. Really sweet. So I think, showing people what you can do, what's possible, is awesome. There's a little picture still stuck on my screen there in the center there. Let me just see if I can get rid of that one. Where is it? Is it this one? No. Which one is that? Okay, here we go. There we go. So I appreciate you guys sharing that. I appreciate you guys working so hard on your instruments. And it is a labor of love. At least I know that when I'm working on my guitars, it's like everything else, all the problems in life tend to go away, and I just focus on the build. And it really, it's therapy, It's something that you enjoy doing. And although it could take a lot of hours to get the final result, especially if you're doing something as elaborate as that, I don't know, it just seems like the hours just melt away. It's awesome. Awesome job. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and the 12th string is twice as much work for sure. I see. So Munch says that each coil is selectable individually. Very cool. Awesome job, man. I'm giving you my thumbs up. So if any of you other regular viewers of the channel want to share stuff, don't be shy. Contact me and let me know. Let me know what you got. I'm always willing to share. And they're passive pickups, full selectivity on the switching. Sounds complicated. Now, I'm not really sure what kind of pickups those are. I didn't recognize the pickups, but on a 12 string, I assume like there's not that much choice for pickups. Am I wrong? And you claim you didn't have to pull the frets to do it, so you actually sanded in between the frets to level everything out. That's even harder. But I guess it saves you time. Cut the logo from mahogany and cleared everything in nitro. Nice. Super job, man. Beautiful. So if I have to do any inlay work, I know where to send my guitar. Oh my goodness, this note, it's killing me. Guys, sorry about that. I apologize. I'm gonna take a sip of water here. Oh, nothing worse than a man cold. I might not make it. Ed says, Tony, I'm trying to decide between a NUX MG30 and an MG400. Your thoughts? This question comes up quite a bit, actually. I'm very happy to share my thoughts on that. Ed, honestly, I think like if money is no object and you want the one that's the most flexible, I would go for the 30. If you want something that is less expensive and maybe you don't need all the bells and whistles and you're just playing at home, then the 400's fine. They're both awesome. I think they both sound really good. Just that the 30 has more options, more flexibility, is built more for use outside the home. You know what I'm saying? So you can't go wrong with either one, but I'd say if you're gigging, go for the 30. If you're intending on using it to gig, go for the 30. It's just built a little bit more ruggedly also. So then I had a question. He says, just wondering if you had to recut the nut for the 12 string. I've never actually worked on a 12 string guitar. I have an acoustic 12 string, but I've never had to do like a mod or a rebuild or anything like that on a 12 string guitar. And honestly, I could only imagine the headaches if you have to recut the nut on a 12 string. Like you said, it's double the work. Monk says, Munch says, I wanted to do that guitar over for a long time. I'm very pleased with the results. So I'm assuming that this is not the first guitar you've worked on, because it seems like you got some pretty good skills there to be able to do that. Dan, get the Vicks, yeah. I don't know if you guys if your parents, your mom used to do this to you guys when you were young, but you know, the Vicks was a cure-all, right? When you were sick, they'd rub that stuff all over your body, throw you in bed, and you'd feel great the next morning. Maybe I'll have to do that again. Oh, Lord. Munch says, I use a carbide drill bit to remove the fret markers. So you just carve them out. So this is how I would do it. Let me know if this is how you did it, because this is how I would approach it. I would just drill a little hole in the center of the existing fret marker, and then use some kind of a tool to maybe like pry it out instead of trying to carve everything out. But maybe that's not the best approach. Maybe you have to kind of drill out most of it to be able to pop it off. I don't know. Yeah, the Vicks Vapor Rub. It works. That stuff, I don't know what it's made out of. Seems to work. Don't knock it if it works. I don't know. All right, so let me just scroll back a little bit here and just see if I missed other questions and stuff while we were talking about the project. So Fat Philosopher did have a question. He was talking with Quicksilver. He says, next year I may get a Strat if Fender releases the Lefty Melina Moy signature with her new album in the spring. But if not, I'll just get a custom Strat. All right, I have a question for you guys. It's not necessarily one of those poll questions, but it kind of is. Indirect poll question. The question is currently, if you guys have pedals and you're using a pedal board, what is the least expensive pedal on your board that you love, that you wouldn't get rid of? Least expensive. Let me know what you guys vote on here. I'd like to know. Like, I like sharing this information because for people that are looking to build a good quality pedal board with pedals that are not necessarily the most expensive, but still sound good, if any of you guys know, I'd like to know. Right now, I can tell you what's the least expensive on my board. The least expensive on my board, and you can see my dog's keeping my pedal board warm there. So the least expensive is the Joyo EQ pedal that I have on there right now. I've had that EQ pedal on the board for a long time. I said to myself, I'm going to keep it there, and eventually when it breaks, I'll replace it with something better or more sturdy. Hasn't died on me. Still there. So basically, why remove something, get rid of something that's working? But I think I must have paid that EQ pedal maybe, I don't know, 50 bucks at the time. I've had it for a while. Hold on, guys. Sorry, guys. I just had to like clear my nose. Oh, Lord. Lord help me. I don't know what I did to deserve this. All right. Cheers, guys. They say it helps to stay hydrated, so that's what I'm doing. Fat Philosopher says, Tony, what did you think of Yvette Young's pedalboard Overkill? So, you guys, if you guys are not, if you don't know what we're talking about here, Fat Philosopher sent me a photo of Mrs. Young's pedalboard, which is humongous. Yeah, I would say it's not necessarily overkill. A lot of these artists use like one effect pedal for part of a song, and the board gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I think if you don't have to carry it, then there's no issues. You know, if you have to lug that thing around, I think twice. There's definitely something to say about keeping everything compact and easy to carry. All right, so the votes are coming in. Cool. So I'm going to see what you guys are rocking on your board. Dan says, Zyrtec, damn it. What's a Zyrtec? Sorry, Dana, I'm not, I don't even know what Zyrtec is. Oh, my lord. Ugh. Okay, Green Rumor says, I just picked up an SG with a Bigsby. They screwed it to the body, and the old tail holes are still showing. I'm thinking get the no screw plate to cover the hole. Thoughts? I don't know if I'd even bother. You know what I mean? It's an eyesore. But I mean, is it worth like bringing attention to it? I don't think anybody's really going to notice it. Honestly, it just might be you. But I mean, if it makes you feel better, the cover plate, it's an option. Paul says, Tony, I was vixed many times in the 50s. Yeah, me too. Me too. You know, for those of you who haven't ever tried this trick, I'm gonna share it with you, but you're gonna have to give me some thumbs up, okay? Because this is a trick that can save you maybe in the future. Uh, the Vicks Vapor Rub trick. A lot of people swear by it, and they say what you got to do is you take it and you rub it on the bottom of the soles of your feet, and then you put on like some really thick woolen socks, and you just leave it there, and you go to bed and you sleep, and apparently for whatever reason it works like a miracle. The next day you feel better. I don't know if it's the placebo effect or if any of you have actually tried this, but apparently it works. So let me know. I might actually try that tonight. So if you like those tips, those medical tips, give me a thumbs up. Davis Music says, I wonder how many times Turn, Turn, Turn by the Birds has been played on that Hagstrom. And then Stairway. There's a lot of great songs that you can play on a 12-string guitar. A lot of nice songs. I like playing 12-string guitars. I just don't like tuning them. All right, so I'm gonna get into the pedal question, and see what people are saying here. So Dan says Proco Rat. Mark says Noble's Oldie R1 overdrive. That's an overdrive that I've been seriously considering, although I have too many overdrives. But I might have to actually check that one out really soon. Apparently, there's also a Tone City version, kind of a knockoff of the ODR1, which probably is less expensive. So I don't know if that's on anybody's list there. Fat Philosopher says the TU2, the tuner. Okay, so just to let anybody know that's interested, Munch says there's a video of the fret marker removal and replacement. So if anybody's interested in checking that out, and I think I am, I'll definitely take a look at that. Boss SD1, just a great pedal. Have you guys heard about this? Speaking of the SD1, apparently, is it the SD or the DS1? The Kurt Cobain's pedal was auctioned off recently. I don't know if I have more information on that one. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so I'm gonna fill you in on this. So basically, Kurt Cobain's DS1, which is the Boss pedal that everybody knows and loves, the distortion one, was sold for $75,000. Believe it or not. And this pedal is typically a pedal you can buy for, like, on the used market for, like, I don't know, 50 or 60 bucks, right? So that's a lot of money for a DS1. And it wasn't even in good condition. You know, it was marked up and gigged the heck out of, and it looked like it was pulled out of a garbage bin, really, to be honest. But people like Cobain memorabilia quite a bit, apparently. You know, I wouldn't have paid more than $70 for it. That's just me, but I'm cheap. So I don't know if you guys agree with the price on this thing. It's really crazy, but I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm wondering if anybody's really like, you know, going like this, like, oh man, I could have just gotten the same thing for like $50. I spent $75,000 on it. Sometimes, you know, it's more, the scenario is basically more money than brains. Chalk it up to that. Oh, Lord. This nose. All right, guys. 37 thumbs up. There's 57 people watching. Somebody is not hitting that like button. Come on, you know who you are. Please help us get this video out there and more people watching the channel, especially on the Sundays. We want to grow the channel as much as we can, and every thumbs up helps. So Rich says +1 for the Keyline Pure Sky. I tried that pedal. I like it. I think it's a great pedal. Quicksilver says, for sure, any of the NUX stuff. I'm A-Bing the NUX Fireman versus the Joyo Uzi. Both are Friedman BEOD pedals or inspired by. And the NUX kills the Joyo, no question. I did try. Thank you guys for the thumbs up. I see them rolling in there. Thank you very much. I did try the Fireman. I have it here in my pedal box. And I thought it was pretty cool. I actually have the real Friedman overdrive pedal as well. And I'm not a big fan, to be honest. And I haven't actually even done a review of that pedal, and I should. And actually, you're bringing up a good point, and I should actually write it down because I'm going to forget. Maybe I should do a side-by-side comparison, the Fireman versus the actual Friedman. If you guys would be interested in seeing that, that's something I can definitely do for you guys. Orion Quest wants to know, are EQ pedals inherently noisy? Not all of them. If they're well designed, they're usually not. Some of the early, some pedals, like the Boss EQ pedal, has a bad rap for being a little bit noisy, but it's not extreme. It all depends on what brand you're working with, what the circuit is, and whatnot. Okay, Presley says, thinking of making a small paint booth at the new shop location. I'd like to spray some bodies with a lighter nitro finish so it will relic. The bodies I use now are mainly poly. Well, if you're going to be spraying anything in specifically nitro, you do want to have a good paint booth. You do want to have all the respiratory gear. You don't want to be spraying nitro and not have a good ventilation system. And I think if you do actually have a paint booth, the end result is awesome because it avoids all the dust particles in the air. You could typically keep it clean. And if you have negative pressure pulling out the air, typically the dust also goes that way as well. So that's another way of making sure the finish doesn't end up with, little specks of just dust or particles, bugs, little things that end up in the finish that require more work at the end of the day to get out of there, All right. Christian says he's voting on his Ibanez GE10 equalizer. Good choice. What else here? Who else has a cool pedal that they like? Easy Daisy, who seems to be new here, and that name hasn't popped up too often. Good morning. I bought the Keeley Halo. It's a delay echo reverb, kind of works well with distortions. Love it. I sold my Strymon Flint. That's cool. Well, the Strymons usually are very popular. People love the Strymon stuff. They're not cheap, but they're very good. So I'm surprised that you prefer the Keeley over the Strymon. Now, is the Keeley just as expensive as the Strymon pedal, or is it a little bit less expensive? Is it a better deal? Alan says Zyratech is allergy medicine or an antihistamine, but I don't think it's allergies. At this point, Alan, allergy season should be over. Usually when first frost happens, allergies are over. Whatever allergies, pollen or grass, grass stuff or whatever it is. The only other thing I'm allergic to are cats, and there's no cats in my house. So unless somebody else has, maybe one of my daughter's friends that has, comes over or sleeps over from time to time, maybe she has a cat. I'm going to ask. I don't want to blow a jam session because of allergies, that's for sure. All right. Paul says the cheapest is the Mighty Sound M5 mini pedal analog delay left on a slapback and used to fatten fuzz pedals for $23 USD. That's pretty cheap. I mean, honestly, $23 for a pedal, any pedal, especially like a delay pedal, that's like crazy. How do they build pedals so inexpensively? Davis says Boss Yellow Overdrive. Randy says a $70 a moon stereo looper that is wonderful. I have that one, and I like it too. It's simple, and it works. And you know, sometimes that's all you need. One thing I want to ask you guys, somebody mentioned this guitar early on. It's funny because this one guitar is actually stamped in the back. It's a 2016 Les Paul that I picked up. This would be my number 2 Gibson Les Paul. My number 1 is a 2014. And when did they actually start stamping the dates right on the back of the headstock? Because I don't remember seeing any of my other guitars. It says made in USA, has a serial number, and it says 2016 model. Maybe I looked, but I didn't see. I don't know. But it's a great playing guitar, this one. It's got a set of Pariah Celebration pickups. I don't know if you guys saw the video. I did a review of these pickups, mostly playing Led Zeppelin licks because why not? It's got a nice neck. It's not really fat. Man, it's not the same playing Strat licks on a Les Paul, is it? Ooh. I'm scrolling down, guys. Scrolling down. Yeah, Dan loves the color. I like the color too, and it's nice because these guitars these years they had some nice flame happening, not overly done. It's not like crazy flame, but it's a nice top. And I tend to take off the pickguard on these guitars. I don't know how many of you guys do the same. There's not even any hole on the side yet for the pickguard. I decided to keep it pickguard free. What do you guys prefer? Pickguards on your Les Pauls or no pickguards on your Les Pauls? I tend to like to see the wood. So Munch says, my Les Paul has the date as part of the serial number 2. I don't know when they started to do that. It must have been in maybe the 2000s. Not really sure. Quicksilver says, Eddie Jr., start out with the more yellow comp, pretty straightforward, or save a few pennies more like double the price, and can't go wrong with the Keeley compressor plus a Pedalboards staple. Yeah, and there's also the exotic compressor as well. Surfer By says, I use my Cowther hotcake more than any other overdrive. It's not cheap, but not Timmy price. And some of those pedals are really uber expensive. Mark says, the amp just got here, Tony. Unboxing time. Awesome. Hey, Mark, send me a quick snap if you don't mind. I'll share it with the boys. Just, as it's coming out of the box, just fresh, if you don't mind. I don't mind doing that if you feel up to it. I think everybody would be excited to see your new toy, as I am. Alan says no pick guard looks better. Yeah, you guys agree with that? No pick guard, says Jerry. Presley says pick guard unless it's an amazing top. Yeah, the only thing with not having a pick guard is that you do risk scratching it up. I tend to, when I'm playing a Les Paul, I usually don't hit the body. I don't strum that low down because the body is curved, so I'm less likely to hit the top. Plus, when I pick, I'm usually right here. I usually don't overdo the hand movement. My God, it's already out of tune. Okay, Mark has sent in a picture, so incoming. Let's have a look. Oh, you're teasing me, Mark. What the heck? Mark is he has some pictures here, but they're kind of like all I'm seeing is box. So here, let me just share with you guys. Give me 1 second. It might take me a second to transfer these over, but let me do that. I'm just gonna airdrop it to myself, and then keep them coming, Mark. Keep them coming. There we go. So here we are. Send that over. Should be airdropped in a second or so. Oh Lord. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Oh my God. I'm sorry if I blew out your eardrums. I didn't mean to sneeze right into the microphone. Oh man. Oh, it sucks. Okay. The picture is here. One of the pictures, and I think there's a few more coming in. So let me just get that one here. Is it this guy? Yes, it is. You guys are you guys excited to see this amp? Because I am. I don't know if I'm the only one. Let me just bring that picture in here. I should download them all at the same time, but what the heck. All right, you see this? That's the box. That's the gospel of Mark's new toy. Very good. Double boxed. Okay, he's teasing us. Here, let's see if... there we go. There's the baby. All right, so let me just download these guys here. Talk amongst yourselves for a second, guys. I'm just getting this done. I wish there was an easier way to do this from a phone, but anyways, all right. And I'm trying to do this without leaking my nose all over the place here, which is kind of gross, but okay, that'll be airdropped, and one more. Come on, device. Let's go. All right. Yeah. And then this guy. All right. Cool. If you guys already have tried this amplifier, let me know, because I'm like going bananas trying to find a local shop that has one of these things. And for whatever reason, they're not like easy to find. I don't know why. They're just like nobody has them in my area yet. It's almost like they don't want to sell these units for whatever reason. I'm going to have to eventually, if I do want to check it out, going to have to like find one online someplace. All right, so there is the actual amp. Can you guys see that? Looks hot, man. It's not that big, right? The actual amp is not that huge. Let me just do the other shot here. This one here. All right. one more. Is it that guy or this guy? Yeah, this guy. There's also this one. And this one is, we can actually see, is it that one? Yeah, that one. We can actually see our buddy Mark. Seems like a happy man. Looks really nice, Mark. I can't wait to actually hear it in action. I'm jealous. Congratulations, dude. Very sweet. So let's give Mark, you know, the good wishes there on that amp. I know he's going to be rocking it most of the day. I would cancel all my plans if it was me, Mark, for today. Today is going to be like rocking out the guitar with this amp. And hold on, I gotta show. This is too cute, guys. I'm gonna have to share this with you guys. One sec. This is cool. So, yeah, if it was me, Mark, I would just cancel all the plans. Stay home. Might even stay home for the week and play around with the cool toy. Check this out, guys. This is really cute. That's first of all, the little guy in the front, Boba, so cute. He looks happy too. He looks happy that you got that thing. And at the same time, you can see the cool cabinet as well. So Mark went full Monty. He didn't just get the head unit. He also got the cabinet to go with it. Mark, what speakers are in that thing? Just wondering what kind of options you went for in terms of speaker combination. I'm not really sure what comes stock in that cab, but it looks pretty sweet, man. Yeah, that's the big question, Alan. Is Mark going to require an attenuator for that? I don't know. That's one of the questions that I had for that particular amp. That's why I wanted to try it out in a store someplace, just to see how loud it actually gets. Can you get to the sweet spot without necessarily having to use an attenuator? That's one of the cool things that I like about the Friedman. It's got a master volume on it, so you can actually get it to break up quite well without necessarily having to crank it extremely loud, because it is 40 watts and it is a Marshall style amp, but it's not going to be necessarily like this one. The Hendrix amp is a little different. It sounds different, but that amp has an attenuator. The Brunetti amp, which is this guy, also has a master volume. So you're able to get some really saturated sounds out of that, because you do have two gain stages. You have a switch. You can go clean, you can go regular, and then you can go hot rodded. And it's crazy. That thing does amazing, there's amazing drive. You don't need a drive pedal with that amp. And then you have the Marshall Studio there, which is also a plexi styled amp, but it doesn't have a master volume. So you're basically, you gotta crank it to get into that sweet sound. But I usually end up boosting that with some kind of overdrive pedal to be able to not blow out my ears. But I have used it with an attenuator also from time to time. Okay, so Mark said that yes, Eddie, it is the 20 watt Hendrix amp. That's what we're looking at. Mark is just arrived, freshly unboxed. EZD says, is a Harley Benton attenuator better than the Bugera? I've never tried the Harley Benton version, but the Bugera I have tried, and it works extremely well. For I think I paid it like $100 used, Works really well. No issues with it. I don't think there's a reason to spend more money at this point. I did have a Weber at one point, which is also a great attenuator. Bigger, a little bit more bulky. But honestly, the regular attenuator that I got from Bugera does just a good a job, in my opinion. Mark said he got the Stealth 1x12 cabinet, has vintage 30s in it. Has one vintage 30, because it's a 1x12, not two. The vintage 30 is a good choice. I think it's an all-around good speaker. I think you're going to enjoy it. Billy Beer said, Tony, I had the same thing last week, dude. Just let it come and go. Ma, ninja. Yeah, man, that's what I'm going to do. I'm drinking fluids. I got my water. Again, I don't even know if it's really a cold or just allergies or what. But it just sucks because you're kind of like in a daze. I didn't sleep well last night. So I'm hoping I'm going to be in better shape tonight because we have a rehearsal. Cletus, the Weber is the go-to, really. If you're gonna buy an attenuator, the Weber is solid stuff. It's not gonna break on you. It's not gonna die on you. The Bugera stuff and the less expensive stuff, I don't know how well it's going to stand the test of time. So far, I haven't had any big issues. But if money is no object and you want to get the good stuff, the cream of the crop, you go with a Weber. You're not going to have any issues. So Mark says the cabinet that is made for the Hendrix comes with a 7080, I think, but couldn't get the 1x12, so I eventually want to get a 2x12. So, Mark, take a peek. First of all, is that a closed back cabinet or an open back or semi-open back? Or does it have like the option to remove panels in the back of it? And also, is it made of plywood? Is it made of, what kind of wood is it? Is it MDF, plywood? Is it, pine? I don't know. What are they made out of? Just so that we get a better idea of what the quality is. Now, this amplifier that we're talking about, the Hendrix from PRS, is an amplifier made in Indonesia. So that's how they keep the prices down on these things. Mark, when you bought that amp, did you get any kind of Black Friday deal on it, or did you end up paying full price? Jerry, I agree. The 65 creamback speakers are so nice. The 7080s, meh. I don't think, Alan, the Hendrix amp has an effects loop. No, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. And Mark confirms that the cabinet is Baltic birch closeback. All right, cool. So there's no options for like opening up the back, semi-closed. I tend to like cabinets that give you that option. You can go full closed. Sometimes they split into 3 panels and you can remove like the center panel. Get a little bit more air in the sound. Yes, Paul, you're right. The Bulgara attenuator was designed by Mike Soldano. Yes, I didn't know that. Thank you for confirming that. Cletus says the thing is, if you buy a Weber Mass, you buy only once, and that's it. Pretty good chances it lasts forever. Mine is on a decade with no signs of decay. The one I had too, what I liked about the Weber, as opposed to the Bugera, is that the Weber did have some switches and some options to play around with the sound. Because typically when you dive the sound down, you lose a lot of the bass end, and the one I had allowed you to kind of tune it a little bit so that you can compensate for that loss, whereas the Bugera doesn't really do that. And it's definitely not the same circuit The Weber, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it actually uses the drive coil from a speaker. That's why the boxes are very big, whereas the Bugera doesn't. It's a whole different thing. Dan says Creamback plus V30 equals perfection in my opinion. Have them in my 2x12 convertible cabinet. I agree. Those for me, honestly, the cabinet I have behind me has original made in England ET60 not ET, that's the Guitar Warehouse version, but it has the Celestion 65s in there, and they sound awesome. My favorite speaker of all time. But I could agree that if you mix the Creamback with the V30s, you're gonna get a really nice sound. So Orion, which speaker do you mic up at gigs? Well, it all depends which cabinet I bring. There's a couple of there's a couple of cabinets. There's that one which I rarely lug with me because it's a 4x12 and it's a pain. There's the 2x12 here that has an ET65 in it. And the other one, if my memory serves me correctly, and I haven't looked in there for a while, I think it's a V-type speaker in there, 65 and a V-type. But then I do have two other 1x12 cabinets. One has a Mojo Tone speaker in it, and the other one has, I believe it's I think it's a Creamback, if I'm not mistaken, in that one. So it depends on what I'm matching it with, depending on whether I'm taking it with the Brunetti or playing it with a Friedman. Depends on what the outcome needs to be. So Cletus says, yes, the Weber has a drive coil in it to give a responsive dummy load. It's also totally configurable between all my amp cab OEM combinations. That's another big advantage when you're looking at attenuators, is that you want to make sure that you can plug it into most of your configuration. So if you have a 4x12, a 2x12, a 1x12, different ohms coming out of those cabinets, you definitely want to be able to have an attenuator where you're going to be able to match that. You don't want to have issues with your cabs. And some of them, like the hot plates, I think you have to select the one that you're going to be. It's not selectable. So to me, that's a disadvantage. Alan says, I hate to give it away, but there's a crazy good deal on the Bugera attenuator on Sweetwater right now, 49, saying that because I already have one. That is a deal. Honestly, guys, if you need an attenuator, and this one goes out to Mark, Mark, you may need one if you don't already have one. 49 bucks, dude. Sweetwater, grab one. I'm telling you. You're going to thank me later if you don't already have one. Mark's probably not even listening anymore. He's probably already has his SG plugged into the thing, and he's probably wailing away now. So we're probably not gonna get any comments from him, and I don't blame him. The abnormal guy says, Addicted to Gear, when are you going to get yourself a Les Paul custom? I don't know. When am I going to get one? Okay, here's a better question. Why should I get one? Well, in your opinion, why would you go with a custom? Like you're talking about like a vintage custom? Can't afford that, dude. I did a review on a custom. Did you see that one? My good friend lent me his vintage custom guitar, beautiful guitar actually, and it had me drooling. I'm gonna admit it had me drooling. Couldn't afford to pay. I think that guitar right now is probably going on the used market, probably about $8,000, something around there, give or take. I can't afford that for one guitar, unfortunately. I wish I could. But thankfully, I have a Tokai, which is very similar, not exactly the same, to a custom, and it's been scratching my itch. It does play well, and it sounds good. So that's been saving me a lot of money. Jerry says, I like a light tube amp, 35 pounds or less, with a good speaker for playing out gigs. I agree, 100%. You definitely want to have an amp that is not heavy. There's nothing worse than having to lug around so much gear, especially in the winter time when there's snow on the ground. I don't know where you live, Jerry, but here I'm dealing with snow, most of the year, unfortunately. So, you don't want to lug around stuff that's too heavy. Mark says he's still listening. Okay, Mark, sure. For now. But yeah, crank it up, dude. Let us know. So the Lion King says, are you interested in the new Epi Les Paul Customs? Well, listen, I did a review. When you're saying the new ones, I'm pretty sure you're talking about the inspired by Gibson versions of those guitars. I already, I have I actually bought a Hummingbird acoustic inspired by Gibson, which I thought was great. I also bought an Epiphone 335 inspired by Gibson, which is also great. I did a review, and this was just a week ago or so, on the SG inspired by Gibson 335. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna check not the 335, sorry, the SG. Sorry, if you didn't check it out, check it out. And I haven't actually had the opportunity to play the Les Paul version, so I will. I'm gonna check it out. I've been impressed with the new line of stuff that they've been putting out. It sounds and plays really great. The prices are not extreme, especially if you snag one on the used market. So far, I really like what they're putting out. So I'll check one out, and I'll give you some feedback on that, or do a review. But so far, I've been pretty impressed. Mark says, definitely have the SG, running my board through it. Love it so far. Cool Tune says, Tony, I use a volume pedal as an attenuator. Thoughts? I mean, yeah, it's an easy way, a cheap way of using a volume pedal to attenuate the sound. I usually will go through a pedal, like I'll put the Marshall on a clean sound, I'll put in a drive pedal in front of it, and then I'll just reduce the volume on the drive pedal. And you can usually, if you have a pedal that you have the ability to actually sculpt the sound a little more, or if you don't have the ability to sculpt the sound with one pedal, if you use that in conjunction with, I usually do three things. A little trick here. When you bring down the volume on an amp, especially if you don't have an attenuator and you're doing it with something like a drive pedal, you tend to lose a lot of the bottom end. So I usually use my EP booster to fatten it back up again. And then I tweak the EQ with an EQ pedal. And with that combination, you can usually get pretty close to, let's say, the cranked sound that you would normally hear at lower volumes without necessarily changing the sound all that much. What's this, Orion? Orion Quest says, I read a thread in a gear forum a few years back where an amp builder said he sprayed water on the speaker cones and left them out in the sun. Is this a way to artificially break in the speakers? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But when the speakers are new, and Mark says, I don't have the master cranked, but it sounds pretty good. Um, I'm pretty sure that the speaker in the cabinet, Mark, is going to sound better once it's broken in. I don't know how many people usually say it takes like 2,000 hours or something like that. I don't know if that's actually accurate or not. But what I usually do if I have a new speaker is I usually plug in an MP3 player or some kind of device where I can crank music through it and just like put it in a room where, I'm not going to bother anybody and just crank music through it like when I'm at work or something, throughout the day for like a week or so. And I do feel that it helps break in the speaker a little bit quicker. Of course, you can always play the heck out of it. That also will do the trick if you want to do it that way. That's probably the best way of doing it. Dan says, great small gigging combo is the Silverface Deluxe Reverb. This is my weapon of choice when I can't just plug into a cabinet at a venue. Um, I think the Silverface stuff, the deluxe reverbs are great. You can't go wrong with those kind of amps. They kind of cover a lot of ground. Um, I wanted to say something because there was a deal that I did come across before I actually forget. Um, and guys, I don't know what's going on there, but the nose is starting to feel a little bit better. Knock on wood. Hopefully it's just a weird thing that's going to come and go. Um, so I saw something I wanted to share with you guys. Give me a second. I want to see if I could still find it. Hopefully I can. Uh, it was a Black Friday deal. I just want to make sure it's still going on. Yeah, so here we go. So if you guys want to pick up a relatively inexpensive um, amplifier right now on Sweetwater, they have the Egnator Tweaker 15 with a 1x12 cabinet. I believe this is a combo deal, which usually would cost you $949. They're selling it for $499. $499. I like the Egnator stuff. And although Egnator hasn't really been putting out new amps, that's one of the things about Egnator, that he doesn't really move fast in terms of cranking out new amps and stuff like that. Like he'll sit on a guitar amp design for like 10 years, or more. Um, but the Egnator Tweaker is a really sweet amp. It's only 15 watts, has 6V6 tubes in it, and it has a bunch of switches that really allow you to dial in a whole bunch of sounds. That's why they call it the Tweaker. And you can get everything from modern rock sounds. You can get nice, hot and clean sounds. It's a really versatile little amp, and $499 for the amp and cabinet. I actually could vouch for the quality of the Egnator cabinets too. They're great. I actually have one here, and that I swap speakers in and out of, and the quality of the little cabinet is great. Um, and it's partially open back, so that gives you a little bit more air in your sound. Sounds really good. So honestly, that's a deal that caught my attention. And if you guys are interested in grabbing that, the tweaker also has an effects loop in it, so you can actually plug in your modulation effects in the loop, and it's a killer amp. I think 15 watts is perfect, easy to carry to the gigs. Plus, you get a cabinet. Usually, the cabinet. Well, I don't know what the usual price on the cabinet is, but a 1x12, just the extension cabinet is $349 right now. And now you're getting, it seems to be like you're getting both for $499, which is crazy. So grab it. You know, I wanted to share that with you guys. If I didn't already have too many amps, I'd grab it too. Randy says I have an Egnator Tweaker 15 head, very sweet. I agree. Yeah, and that's another option. Exactly, Paul. Thank you for sharing that. You can also, if you don't have an MP3 player that you want to plug into your speakers to break them in, you can do a riff on your guitar. If you have a looper pedal, just loop the crap out of it. Just play into it your favorite riff, and I don't know, stuff a pillow in front of it, or put the cabinet in a closet somewhere, and just let it go. I would say that if you're gonna, Randy, if you're gonna spray water on a speaker cone, it depends what the cone is made out of, because not all speaker cones are made the same way. They're not all paper. They use different types of materials. I don't think it's something you can do across the board unless you're really sure you know what you're doing. Mark says Sweetwater has a killer deal on a blue Tolex Blackstar HT Cab 40. Was definitely intrigued. I think I did see that one too, Mark. Yeah. But I think you made the right choice. And the DSL 40 CR is on sale at Sweetwater too, confirms Mark. So Mark is also uh, I didn't get any clips, Mark, but whenever you have an opportunity, dude, no rush. um, so there's a lot of Black Friday deals happening right now. If any of you guys have taken advantage of this, share, please, if you don't mind. Um, Thank you for the thumbs up, by the way, guys. We have 50 viewers and 50 thumbs up. Beautiful. I give you guys thumbs up all the time. One other thing I wanted to mention, this was also brought up to my attention from Munch. There's a really great guitarist called Alexandra Zerner that you guys might be interested in checking out. She has her own channel. And I'd love to have her join us on the chats here on our Sunday shows and be part of the group. She's a really talented musician. She plays a whole bunch of instruments, including a really awesome, I think it's an 8-string guitar. Is it an 8-string Munch? Anyways, she plays amazingly well. I invite you guys to check out her channel. She has her own little space on YouTube. But hopefully she might want to jump in on the chat from time to time and participate. I think that would be really cool. She does give tips on her channel in terms of playing techniques and whatnot. So if you guys want to check it out, Alexandra Zerner, Zerner. All right, just wanted to put that out there as well. Anything else you guys wanted to share or have questions about? I'm all ears. One of the things that I noticed this week is that Chapman Guitars is putting out a more expensive line of guitars, what they call the Chapman Made in England Workshop Series. So basically, if you guys are aware of the Chapman stuff, basically, Chapman Guitars has been out for a while. It basically started, everybody knows Chapman, I think so. I think if you've been following the Andertons channel, you should know who this is. But anyways, they started a line of guitars way back that were being made overseas, and they were pretty nice. I think they did really well. They were promoted heavily on YouTube, and I think overall they've been selling pretty well. Now they've announced this new Made in England Workshop Series, which I believe is the equivalent to the custom shop stuff. So you're going to be getting guitars Chapman guitars that are made directly in England and a whole bunch more expensive. Yay! But honestly, I think what's going to be cool about these guitars is that they are going to have premium finishes, premium build quality, and whatnot. So I guess they're going to be competing with the likes of Sir, with the likes of more expensive guitars that are out there. As far as I can tell right now, I'm not super certain on the price, but if they're being made in England, I'm assuming you're going to pay euros for this. And as far as I understand, a custom order will set you back. This is, I believe it's pounds or euros, 3,499, including VAT and delivery. International orders will instead be 2,999.99, also pounds, including local taxes. So it's going to be extremely expensive, but if you're looking at a premium built guitar and you do like the Chapman stuff, that might be something that you're interested in. My pleasure, Munch. Yeah, and Munch does confirm. She does confirm. He does confirm that Alexandra has. She plays. She says she has a 29 fret 8-string guitar. Very unique guitars for sure. Ed, thank you for sharing the attenuator deal on Sweetwater. We did mention it earlier, $49. That's a killer deal. I would say grab it. Even if you don't think you need it right now, at that price, grab it anyways. You never know. You'll be set up. Gene says, I'm interested in checking out a P90 Naughty Boy guitar from Amazon, but not till December. What's got you intrigued about that guitar, Gene? I've not tried titanium tailpieces for my Les Paul. Not yet. I think Fat Philosopher made me laugh last week when he said the only thing titanium that I have is my hips. No, I haven't tried titanium yet. I like the aluminum tailpieces. I haven't tried not titanium. Too expensive, man. Have you tried them? Are you telling me it's worth the sound difference? I'm not really I'm not very convinced in terms of how much of a difference you're going to hear for the price. I'm not saying that you're not going to hear a difference. I'm sure you will, but how much of a difference at the end of the day, is it really worth it? I'm not really sure. Presley says, designing the customer experience area at my shop where you can sit down and play the available customs. It's a super small shop, so I'm going headphones and probably Spark amps. Thoughts? Well, I believe if you can at least have one tube amp there available, it makes a difference when you're playing any guitar through a tube amp. I find that when you're playing through a modular, the sound is good. You can, hear if there's anything blatantly up with the sound, but it's not the same feel, and feels very important for a lot of musicians. So a good tube amp, like even if it's just maybe like something like a Princeton. Get a Princeton in there, put a little overdrive pedal there with it, just in case somebody wants to drive a little bit. It's going to make a huge difference, I think. My opinion on that, Presley. Dan says, what should I buy for my very first pedal? I would say a tuner. That would be my first choice, because that'll make a huge difference in your sound if you can't tune properly by ear. But all jokes aside, tuners are important. Most people will generally go for a drive pedal. I think a lot of people will automatically gravitate towards a drive pedal depending on what kind of amplifier you have and what kind of sound you're playing. But it all depends on what kind of music you're playing, Dan. Are you playing, if you're playing jazz, I wouldn't recommend the drive pedal. So maybe give me a better understanding of what kind of music you're playing it for, so I can guide you a little bit better. Yeah. All right. Almost fell off my chair. I'm not a big fan of reverse headstocks, Rico. I only have one guitar with a reverse headstock. I do feel that if Chapman would offer more guitars, and maybe this is one of the custom order options that you have. Oh, sorry guys. That one sneaked up on me. Oh, it's getting better though. It's getting better. Keep my fingers crossed. If Chapman, maybe now that they're doing custom orders, maybe an option is to have a Chapman guitar that doesn't have a reverse headstock. I would prefer having a headstock that is not reversed. I'm not a big fan of these reverse headstocks. I don't know, DMAC. Anyone familiar with duty charges from to Canada from Sweetwater? Are they set rates or depend on the type of gear? In my experience, duties is always a crapshoot. It's weird because you can order the same product from different places and pay different duty charges. I don't know how they calculate this stuff. If somebody knows, please explain it to me. I have no clue. It seems like it's random. It's like they pull these numbers out of a hat. But I think they do have some kind of a system, and apparently it's related to where you're buying it from, where the product is made, whether or not they have some kind of free trade agreement with them or whatever. I don't really know. So it's really difficult to figure out. You have to almost take a chance sometimes because you don't know. Someone's got to donate money so I can get these guitars. Yeah. Expensive stuff, man. Eddie says, I never only sneeze one time. It's usually 5 or more. Yeah, I know. I know how I have some people that I know that do that. It's like it's a sneezing fit. I usually can control it to one. And it's really funny when you see some women sneezing sometimes. They build it up, build it up, build it up. And like, cheap. For me, it's like, get out of my way because it's like a bomb going off. Dan says he's probably going to go for the delay first. Yeah, I mean, are you playing modern stuff, Dan? Delays are great because you can do a lot with them. Loopers are fun because you can practice with them. There's so much choice. So Presley, if you have a PV Classic 30, that's not bad. That's a pretty good all-around amplifier. You're good. I think you should be fine with that. Yeah. Titanium hips work well, especially in airport checks. I agree. A tube screamer is kind of like the status quo when it comes to the first pedals. A lot of people will automatically gravitate towards a drive pedal or a tube screamer of some sort there. Gene says, bless you. Thank you, Gene. Sorry about that. I feel like I'm being so rude, but So D-Max says if you're a rock player, then an overdrive is a good call. Tube Screamer type pedal or cheaper clones like the MSR Sugar Drive. I mentioned GHS 3 series is a good place to start as well. And D-Mac also says MXR Super Badass Distortion is good for overdrives also. Yeah, there's a lot of choice. There really is. It also depends on what kind of an amp you already have. Because if you can get a really nice overdrive sound or rock sound from the amp you already have, you might not need an overdrive pedal because then it's going to be overkill. Gene says, first sneeze, health, second luck, third money, fourth see a doctor. Exactly. As long as I don't start wheezing, then it's okay. Nick Man says, Tony, I found a good deal on an Epiphone Les Paul Prophecy Plus 24GX 2013 model. Any opinions on this? Well, what's the good deal? How much is it? How much are we talking in terms of deal here? Let me know what kind of price range that deal is in, and I'll give you my opinion. Presley says, ain't nobody taking it home to try it on their rig before paying for it, lol. They can return it or swap it out, but paid in full before it leaves my hands. I would agree with that, Presley. Guitars are too easy to chip or scratch or, then you're stuck with it. Eddie says, Tony, thanks for showing up today. I really enjoy this Sunday time with you guys, with you and the guys. So do I, Eddie. Hey, one thing I wanted to say. I came across somebody selling a hollow body PRS guitar. Not a single cut. It's a double cut. Or standard PRS guitar. And it's funny because I asked for some pictures. Originally, they had listed the guitar for $100. So I said to myself, this is going to be either A, the old bait and switch, B, somebody's going to say, oh, I meant to put $1,000 and I only put $100, right? Because they get people attentions and then they switch it on you. Or C, there's something wrong with the guitar. So the first thing I did was I contacted them and asked them for pictures. So they did send some pictures, sneaky pictures, because they weren't absolutely 100% clear, but I did notice that there were some issues on the lower end of the front guitar that looked like little like chips or like pock marks, small ones, which seemed weird. It's almost like the guitar got pecked by something. And then a very quick shot of the back of the guitar, which also had some lower like marks on it. So I'm thinking to myself, well, if the guitar is being sold for $100, this could be used as a refinish job, right? I wouldn't mind buying the guitar. $100 at a reasonable price for a PRS guitar. It's an SE, wasn't a core model. And I said to myself, possibly I could either repair it or refinish it. But it's not necessarily easy to refinish a guitar like that that's made in poly, because those guitars usually have a veneer top. And it's super easy to blast through the top when you're sanding it down, and then you gotta spray it a darker color. This was a nice sunburst, like a reddish sunburst guitar. So anyways, I specifically asked a few more questions, and I'm like, hey, is there anything wrong with the guitar? And they're like, no, the guitar's fine. I'm like, are you sure there's no finishing issues? Because at the end of the day, I noticed that there's a few like chips, and they're like, well, I don't see anything from my point of view. And they sent me another picture of the guitar sitting in the corner there. And I'm like, well, what about the back side of the guitar, the lower side of the back? Can you, any issues there? And they stopped responding. No, dead air at that point, So obviously there is something wrong with the guitar. And the funny part is, they're like, no, the guitar is not $100. That's the acoustic guitar. And apparently there was another guitar listed in the listing. And I hate when people do this, where they list like a super low price, and then they list like 3 or 4 items, and the one that they're actually showing in the image is the most expensive one. So they were asking 500 bucks for it, which is not an unreasonable amount of money for a used PRS SE. But because it did have finish issues, I'm like, forget it. It's going to be too much hassle and not really worth the effort. You don't know what's going to happen. So I just wanted to share this with you guys so you know how people work and think sometimes when you're looking at used gear. You got to ask a lot of questions. And it's just like the old bait and switch. You know what I mean? It's like, no, not interested. Yeah, exactly, Alan. That's exactly it. The old bait and switch. So Nick man says 350 bucks for the Epiphone. So 350, Nick. Yeah, that's a good deal, man. I would grab it. I don't think you're gonna, that's a reasonable price. The Epiphone stuff is generally pretty good, even if you have to swap out the pickups or whatever, or maybe work with the electronics a little bit. It's gonna be fine. 350, no brainer. Grab it. I don't think you're gonna regret it. Thank you, Gene. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'll buy myself a little bottle of Vicks with that, Vicks Vapor Rub, and I'll take care of this nasty cold. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Listen, I've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes. Unless there's other questions, anything else that you guys want to bring to our attention here, then maybe we call it. We wrap it up for today. What do you guys think? I'm not sure. If there's any other questions, I'll stick around for maybe a few minutes more to answer any of the lurkers' questions that haven't had the courage to speak up earlier. So Munch says, I don't know if I could buy a guitar online or only by looking at at pictures. I'd have to have it in the hand and play it. Well, don't get me wrong. Like I rarely buy guitars. Oh, my hair is gonna be. I'm having a bad hair day on top of everything else. Don't get me wrong, Munch. I wouldn't necessarily buy a guitar sight unseen like that. I've never ordered a guitar except for once off eBay, and I took a chance with it because it was such a good deal without playing it, and I actually got lucky, and the guitar was excellent. But I wouldn't probably do that again. Most of the time, when I'm talking about these stories that I'm telling you now, it's mostly people that are selling these guitars local. And I'll do the vetting with pictures and stuff first to save myself the hassle of driving down and taking a look at these guitars, and then they end up being duds. But that's the first stage, you know. Then I'll vet the pictures, and I'll drive down and I'll play them. And if they're good, then it's a deal. Otherwise, no, I wouldn't recommend that anyone buy a guitar sight unseen. It's not the way to do it. Yeah, that's a good point, Presley. It's a good deal unless it needs fretwork, or unless you know how to do your own fretwork, because fretwork's very expensive, and you can easily spend, $250 on fretwork if it has to be a total refret, or even a bit more. So yeah, I would definitely check it out, making sure that there's nothing wrong with the neck. That's the key thing. Making sure that the truss rod works properly, that there's enough fret. Like fret doesn't need to be totally removed or replaced. Um, that's a big one. Thanks, Dan. I will definitely get some rest after tonight's jam. Presley says, Tony, how many dots on that shirt? I appreciate you, dude. Thanks for another awesome Sunday morning. I don't know how many dots. Plenty. Uh, Munch says, thanks for another great show, Tony. Get that vitamin C before tonight's practice. Thanks for showing off my 12 string and saying hello to my mom, and also for promoting. Yeah, my pleasure, dude. My pleasure. All the best to your entire family there. And I hope your mom enjoyed the show. Hopefully, we made her smile a little bit. And thank you for allowing us to share those awesome pictures of your guitar build. Uh, Cletus, I try my best, dude. I try my best. Um, yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you. I appreciate you guys, and I don't want to let you down. And a simple cold, is not going to keep me down. So it was my pleasure to spend this Sunday with you. I'll just say before closing, guys, that if you do want to participate in more of these live show events, if it's your first time and you've been here only once or twice, these shows go live every Sunday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We try and be there on a regular basis, punctual. That is the time slot, so you can set your clock to it. I'll send out the invite for the next week's shows. Of course, if something falls on a holiday, on Christmas, on New Year's, or whatever, sometimes there might be a little shift, but generally we try and stick to that schedule. So if you like what we're doing here, give us a thumbs up. If you want to participate in the chat, make sure you're subscribed, and of course keep your eye on the channel on YouTube, because there's always reviews of guitars and pickups and whatnot. Mark says, my wife thanks for posting Boba the dog. He's too cute. That dog's adorable. I have a sweet spot for any kind of dog, so I had to post that one. Thank you for allowing us to show your toy. Mark, hopefully you'll enjoy it and give us some additional feedback on it. We're looking forward to hearing the scoop. Oh, sorry, I just stifled a sneeze there, guys. Sorry about that. We're looking forward to hearing the full scoop. And of course, if anybody's interested in checking out more information on the amp from Mark, you can also follow Mark on his Instagram channel. I'm sure he'll be posting some really cool videos of the amplifier shortly. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Stay healthy. Take your vitamin D, your vitamin C, your magnesium, your zinc. Have a bit of everything. And don't forget the Vicks on the bottom of the soles of your feet. And we should all survive this winter season together. Keep up the great work, guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. We'll talk again next Sunday. See you then.